cameras wouldn't be in the shots.
Right.
Just ridiculous bullshit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been stressing out myself, you know, like usually I don't give a shit, you know, like it's a mess in here. So now that some people are gonna see this place, like I tried to angle everything so that they wouldn't see the embarrassing stuff.
That's exactly what I did. It's like there's like an entire trash room right now.
Exactly.
I basically just took a shovel and pushed it off in the corner.
Yeah.
People are not gonna. I don't recognize you with like you growing your hair out and stuff.
Oh yeah. This is like my apocalypse hair.
Yeah.
To be truthful, I actually decided I would grow my hair since the new year or something like that. So it's been a few months. It's at that stage that I have to wear a cap, not to be really embarrassing.
Are you one of these like fake bald men?
No. I don't know what that is, but I'm hardcore. It looks pretty bad. It sucks that we don't have any choice, you know, like you either go shave it or, you know. So I said, I just want to feel some hair, so I'm growing it out again.
The feeling of hair is like a distant memory at this point.
Exactly. So like I've been shampooing and, you know, like I can't comb my hair right now.
Shampooing!
Exactly. Like I forgot this product, you know.
For years, I don't know about you, but for years when I first started shaving my head, I would still, when I got in the shower, I would still use shampoo on my head and soap on my body. And now I'm just like, whatever, you know.
Yeah, whatever. As long as it looks clean, you know.
It's like, with this hand sanitizer? Yeah, I got it.
My fantasy about hair is that like I would like to grow like a, you know, like in the back, you know, like a real long braid or something like that.
Yeah, the Conan.
You know, like I never had the patience for that, you know. Yeah.
I would look like such a hot mess.
Yeah.
I would look like a guy who trains exotic, you know, chimpanzees or something.
there's a big risk, you know, about the perception of people of you when you have hair like that. So yeah, it's a big decision.
This is like some sort of like a cathartic barbershop experience for people who don't have.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, it's we don't have much choice, you know, like so. Like once we see each other, you know, it flows, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So I know like a bit about you, but not. This is one of the benefits of doing this has been like I get to know my friends a little bit better.
Sure.
So I do know that you were born in Turkey.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by what the Turkish comic scene.
Well, yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting experience, I would say, because like when I was growing up, for me, I was kind of lucky because I was exposed to all kinds of comics, maybe except for Japanese stuff. But like, because my mom being from Austria, she would bring German translated comics to me, and you know, like we would read it with my brother and stuff like that, and also there would be translated comics in Turkey, like all these Marvel stuff, mostly Conan, a lot of Conan, and also like European comics. So that stuff, you know, like I always enjoyed looking at the pictures and the storytelling and everything, you know. So one thing that's really big in Turkey is like humor comics, which is like Mad magazine, but in a Turkish way, in a way, and that was really huge growing up. Like they were selling like hundreds of thousands and stuff like that, and it was mostly political as well. But as a kid, I wasn't really interested in that stuff. Like I was more interested in a bit more serious things. A lot of the big translated comics in Turkey were Italian, fumetti. So there were like a lot of Western books, and like Martin, Mr. Dylan Dog, and you know, like and all that kind of stuff. So like I had all those influences, but I don't know. I felt a bit more um, an inclination towards the American stuff. Also, like Asterix and Tintin were big for me. They were like aimed for kids. So and I love the storytelling in those. Like I would pour over the panels and how try to imagine how he would draw all these motion and like interaction between the characters. It was I would see stuff like that in cartoons, but they were in motion. But in the comic, it was in images. So it was interesting to me, like to see how he would, like in one panel just describe like the incredulence a character has or something like that. So all that really fascinated me as a kid, and I don't know. I liked drawing, and I was lucky that nobody discouraged me. Because like a lot of friends, they said everybody was like going like, don't draw and stuff like their parents or like their relatives and stuff. I had some people around me that discouraged me from doing that because I was uh, a left-handed person, a lefty, and you know I had some religious people around me who were like saying doing things with your left hand is bad because left hand is used for the toilet and stuff like that.
I
for,
was never gonna guess that was the reason.
I mean, at least one person was saying that you use that hand just for the toilet, and you do everything else with your right hand. So like they were looking down on me doing everything with my left hand. So, I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It was crazy for me.
Yeah. I'm about to have to pull the most redneck move in the world. There's a fucking squirrel that comes in the window every day. Every day, I tweeted about this squirrel. He comes in my window every day and he just scratches on the fucking window.
Get out here!
Oh man. I wasn't expecting the yelling.
I chased him with a hammer. So that's kind of a confluence of influences, because I look at your work and I do see the American influence, but there's a sharpness to it, like a compositionally, like a reduction happening. Like the shapes and stuff. That is very European. Like it's like an American superhero influence, maybe. There's a craft influence because it's like a mastery of the tool, and then it's like very specific approach to composition and shape and stuff. And you feel like I'm curious as to like how that may have developed. Was it just the reading habits, or was it through the pursuit
of? That's very hard to answer. I would say, like, that, I mean, it comes with time. Like you don't really realize some stuff, but I try to let the influences into my work. That's what I've tried to do, like consciously sometimes. But it can come from anywhere. It can come from like I don't know, like a mainstream comic book artist, one of our peers or something like that, or from like Egon Schiele or Gustav Klimt, like the way they do hands and things like that, or I don't know, it just comes organically. But the problem I have with my work in general is that I feel I constrain myself too much. So like I try to like open up, but I always feel like I'm in the slightest shell that like I wish I push myself more in some certain terms. So like lately I feel I'm allowing more flexibility in my work. Like I don't before I would say like, okay, this hatching style wouldn't work with my drawings or whatever like that. Now I don't really care that much. Like so I try to put in all whatever I can, like just to make the image better. I feel like my work that I don't do enough, like to push myself to get better at times. So like I mean, like I especially working professionally, I would feel like I'm working to please people. Like, so lately that's been changing slightly more, and I've been not giving a fuck to some point, like, so like I try to do whatever I want, like, still it's not enough, but uh, at least it's a step in the right direction, I feel.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's like I feel like I'm always just beholden to the story,
Mm.
and for better or worse, some of my storytelling instincts are fairly commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a factor in me where I'm trying to make the best, most pleasing thing on some level, but I try to like have the drawing itself tell me what that is rather than the audience, and that's a weird place to get to. I don't know, if I just got lucky and had the privilege of that from the start, or what. So all the things that we were taught about how to specifically go about doing this, it's taken me a while to sort of rewire my brain,
Right.
without abandoning all that knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes dogmatic. Like so much of it like gets beat into your head that you feel like there's only like these specific things you have to do and these specific things people will like.
Exactly.
You can and then the process, especially with you, with your output, your level of output, like you have to get this book out every month basically, so you don't have as much time to like experiment or rewire your brain. So like,
Right.
where you do it, that real estate becomes precious, I would imagine.
Exactly. Yeah. uh, with my career, I feel that's been like my blessing and a curse that I've started out as a really fairly quick artist. So like I would do books in a really short time, like, and even for a while I did 2 books in a month. Which really almost killed me. Literally, I had like health issues because of that, so I'm never doing that again. But like that kind of like both earned me a good reputation with the people I worked with, but also like it didn't please me uh, with my output. Like I was like rushing things out, or not rushing that, like I was feeling like I'm putting out really just crap stuff, but uh, the feeling that I wasn't doing my best was always there, which was really like it felt bad. Like lately I've been trying to get out of that. Like I'm trying to like do the best thing that I can in the available time or whatever. So
Yeah.
Hopefully it's improving.
I guess what I was trying to say earlier is like, it feels like you are taking more chances in your work now. Like I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe some of that is, what you're doing now a little more,
Right.
but also just the confidence level. Those people at the table know what you do.
Mm-hmm.
When they come up, they know who you are. They know what to expect from you.
Yeah.
And if they followed you this far, what are they going to do? Like all leave you because you drew a weird looking tree or something?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like that's a great point thing to point at, I guess, because like whenever I tried something new and didn't wait to ask for permission from anyone or something like that, and it always kind of ended up positive. Maybe I didn't see the failure or something like that, so that's been my luck or whatever, but that's been encouraging. So like okay, like I'm gonna do this, so I would try it, and the response would be great, and then I would feel like, why didn't I do that before? I always wanted to do that before, but see, that's what I was trying to say before, I guess. Like when I feel constrained, like I would always have these ideas, like, okay, I'll do that in the future, I'll do that when I'm doing some other stuff or something like that. So but all that procrastinating is like, I don't know, it's like, I guess, doubt and and things like that. um, I give um, less importance to that right now, and if I feel it, I try to do it.
There's a certain part of like just knowing like this is what I trained my whole life to get here.
Mm.
I've gotten this far, so certainly I've cultivated some ability to make choices, you know, or harness my instincts or something. So I got to trust that part of myself, you know.
Right.
That's one of the harder things to learn for a lot of people, I think.
Oh yeah. It's something I struggle with, a lot. I probably gave you a lot of hard time back in the day when we worked together on Wolverine and the X-Men, but uh, that that book was a really turning point for me. I would say, like I see I see that as a working with you on that book as a milestone in like my artistic career. Because the way you wrote the scripts and how different it was from what I usually did, and like you would explain to me a lot of stuff aside from the script. You would write all these paragraphs, like describing things, like sending me designs for characters and things like that. You were so involved with it.
Yeah.
It really got me involved with it, and like it wasn't something I was used to before that. I was more like a grunt, I guess. Like they would tell me to do stuff and I would do it. But you kind of made me start to think more about what I would do in the book and stuff like that, and you made me draw all those weird stuff.
That's
Like Duke riding a bike with a tiger in the back. Like you don't get to do that all the time.
that book.
So like that's been really a turning point for me. Like, and I really treasure that part of my career, and I feel kind of apologetic towards you on that, because like I was always trying to like because you were challenging my brain. I was trying to resist that. Like this is too much for me. Like I'm doing too much thinking.
Well,
so yeah.
I'm glad something good came out of that book.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not ashamed to say that I had hell in that book. And
yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult.
it was very hard for me to look at that book positively.
Yeah, we were in a tough position back then. Like Wolverine was dead, and we were doing a book called Wolverine.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, if you feel that way, that makes me feel like a million feet tall. And then on a personal level, it's what got me frustrated enough to write that Spider-Gwen script.
Right.
It worked out. Like, the steps to get places sometimes don't always feel good.
Now looking back, I'm so appreciative of all the challenges that I had with that one. It really opened up my mind about doing a lot of stuff differently.
Thank you, man. That made my day.
No, I'm just being genuine. And now that we're together talking about this stuff, like, I always wanted to say it. So, like, if I didn't say it before, here you go.
To return the sentiment, and I was going to say this anyway, so, I'm just not a complete asshole. I'm not just because you were nice to me. But I am very proud of, like, what, on some level, I'm very proud of what you have gone on to do. Like, you and Nick Klein in particular, like the two guys I worked with early, who've just blossomed into these, like, household comics art names, basically, and I don't know if that's even a thing anymore, but you know what I'm saying. And they're doing like really great, elevated work, on a monthly work for hire basis. It's, it's amazing outlier kind of stuff. And I think, that level of effort that you guys are putting forth really does set a bar for people. Both of you in particular bringing in this wide range of influences that has got to be like shaping some people's brains in terms of like people trying to learn how to do this stuff.
Well, yeah, thank you, man. I don't know. Yeah, talking about influencing other people, like it's such a strange thing. Like occasionally people, write to me and stuff. Like they say, I really like your work. It inspires me, or like stuff like that. I always kind of feel scared about that sentiment, because like I always see the faults in my work.
Yeah.
And you know, like I feel like they're learning from the wrong stuff, you know. So
Well,
I'm like, okay, go mild.